So you all remember I created a WWE GOAT bracket with the men. I created another WWE GOAT bracket, but this time for the women, asking my Instagram followers to tell me who they think the greatest women's superstar in WWE history is, and I have the results for you today. I'm not gonna lie. Some of these votes are a little wild, if you ask me. They're a little wild, but it wasn't up to me, so don't come at me sideways, because I had no say in the votes. I had no say in the votes whatsoever. I'm just sharing the results, man. It's other people's opinions. The people have spoke, so now I'm going to share my results. But if you want to be part of videos like this for the future to give your votes and to engage with this, make sure to follow my Instagram right here, NarcolepsyBoy94. The next WWE bracket that I'm going to do is the WWE GOAT bracket of themes. What is the greatest WWE theme song of all time? That video is yet to come out, and the poll for that has yet to come up on my Instagram story, but that video is coming in the future, so if you want to be a part of that, gotta follow my Instagram right here. Look out for the Instagram stories. Now, before we dive into this video as well, as always, please make sure to subscribe, like, share, comment below, turn on the notifications to be updated with all pro wrestling content right here on this YouTube channel, and to be updated when we go live every single Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern time zone for the No Name Wrestling Podcast. We do allow the subscribers to come on when we have the open mic episodes to chat with us, have casual debates with us, just, to welcome them into the chats and the community. We do allow the viewers to come on because we like to engage with our followers and stuff, so we do allow that right here on this platform, so also be on the lookout for that every Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern time zone when we go live for the open mic episodes. Now let's talk about, the results of this. I'm not gonna lie, I respect and I love my followers, but a lot of these votes were nasty. I'm just gonna say it, man. A lot of these votes, if you ask me, were a little nasty. Like, I was a little baffled by some of these votes. Honestly, I was more baffled by the women votes than I was for the men. The women's votes shocked me a lot more than the men's did. So we're gonna dive into it, man. Let's not waste any more time. Some of y'all need to be prepared, so put on your seatbelts.
Round 1. Fight!
We started off with Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella, and not by surprise, Becky Lynch did win by a landslide. No disrespect to Nikki Bella, but I didn't really expect the people to vote Nikki Bella over Becky Lynch because Becky Lynch is just more impactful and she's just done much more for women's wrestling and for what, she's meant to the WWE as a whole, so Nikki Bella was good for her time frame. She was dope, but not surprised that Becky Lynch won this one. Then we had the legit boss Sasha Banks versus the ninth wonder of the world, Chyna, and Chyna did not get the victory, which did surprise some people. Some people did hit me up in the DMs, like, very upset about that, like, how did Sasha Banks beat Chyna and stuff? I mean, I don't really think it's that crazy. I mean, Chyna was dope for her era, but Sasha Banks definitely is the better wrestler, if you ask me, and she's very accomplished too, and she was one of the pillars of the Four Horsewomen to help push the women's revolution to be what it is today, so this to me wasn't that crazy. This one did surprise me, and it did hurt a little bit, I'm not gonna lie to you. I had Lita go up against Rhea Ripley, which I thought was a very fair, pretty even matchup from a lot of perspectives, but I think eras do have to play a factor into this, and I feel like majority of the people who probably voted for this weren't around in the Lita era, and Rhea Ripley is one of the most popular superstars in this era, and she's great. Rhea Ripley is great. She's phenomenal. She's one of my top 10 favorite women's wrestlers of all time, as is Lita, but Rhea did win the battle here. Now she's moving on, and Lita got kicked out of the first round. Some people probably not going to like that, but like I said, the votes were out of my hands. Then I had Bianca Belair go up against Mickie James, and Mickie James is a legend, but I do feel like Bianca Belair edges her when it comes to WWE careers. If this was all in wrestling, well, Mickie James did a lot in TNA and stuff too, so I'll probably give the edge to Mickie when we're talking all of wrestling, but it's about who's had the best WWE career, and I do think Bianca has had a better career than Mickie James, so this one, honestly, I gotta agree with. Then we move on to the other side of the bracket with Bayley going up against Liv Morgan, and Bayley got the victory there, which was the correct call. Liv Morgan is great, but not at that level yet. We got AJ Lee versus Alexa Bliss, and there were a lot of people who were really infuriated by this, actually. I got a lot of DMs from people saying that Alexa Bliss was the correct winner, but they feel like nostalgia plays a big factor into this of AJ Lee beating Alexa Bliss. I'm not going to disagree with that, but I'm also not, going to disagree with AJ Lee being over Alexa Bliss. I don't think it's that crazy. Then I had Charlotte Flair going up against Asuka, and I do feel like if Asuka, first off, Charlotte Flair did win, and she was the correct winner, but I feel like Asuka would have had a better fight if she had continued to be pushed the way she was with that crazy aura that she had when she was undefeated, even after she lost to Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 34. And she's very accomplished. You know, she's been tag team champion, Raw Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion. She won the first ever Women's Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank winner. She's also been just a Women's Champion when they introduced the new version of the Women's Championship. Like, Asuka is a very accomplished superstar. She's going to be in the Hall of Fame someday, as she should be. She's one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. But I just feel like Charlotte's aura just eclipses Asuka's at this point, and she's all around just very much accomplished as well. When you compare the both, I just feel like Charlotte's had the better WWE career overall. Last matchup in the first round, we had Trish Stratus versus Beth Phoenix, and I do feel like Beth Phoenix is probably one of the most, underappreciated legends that doesn't get talked about enough as she should, but Trish Stratus did get the votes to win, and I do feel like Trish Stratus was the correct winner in that first round.
Round 2. Fight!
Then we get to the second round. We got Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks. And honestly, surprisingly, Becky Lynch demolished, crushed Sasha Banks, man. I honestly thought this would be a closer matchup. Like, I do agree Becky Lynch is the better overall superstar and has had a better WWE career, but I thought the matchup would be fairly more close than what it was. But, I mean, Becky Lynch pretty much wiped the floor with Sasha Banks. I'm not gonna lie. It was kind of crazy. Man, this probably was the one that shocked me the most, man. This was breathtaking. Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair matched up, and Rhea Ripley got the votes over Bianca Belair, and she got a lot of them over Bianca Belair. Now, this could have to do with maybe people liking Rhea Ripley more than Bianca Belair. I don't really know, but this one definitely surprised me a lot. Another one that definitely shocked me, AJ Lee getting the votes over Bayley, man. I was like, what? I totally disagree with this, by the way. I don't think AJ Lee is even close to being, better than Bayley. I just feel like Bayley just all around had better matches. She's definitely more accomplished. First ever Women's Grand Slam champion, first ever Women's Triple Crown champion, Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble wins. Like, she's held every damn title there is to hold, besides the Women's World title. Like, I just feel like, eras do play a different factor, and AJ Lee comes from a different era, the Divas era, and she wasn't able to branch out as much as Bayley was able to when the Women's Revolution was pushed, because AJ Lee did kind of leave around that time frame when the evolution of women's wrestling was starting to rise to the top. But man, character work, I would definitely give to AJ Lee. AJ Lee has one of the best women's character works I've ever seen, any woman have in WWE on-screen television. But honestly, this to me was crazy. Charlotte Flair versus Trish Stratus. I wasn't too sure how this was going to go, but Trish Stratus got the votes over Charlotte Flair. Now, I'm not going to say that's too wild, but then again, I mean, should Trish have got the votes over Charlotte? I don't know, man. I'll let y'all decide how y'all feel about that one.
Round 3. Fight!
In the semifinals, we got Becky Lynch going up against Rhea Ripley, the WrestleMania 40 rematch right here. And this time, Becky Lynch came out on top because she got the votes over Rhea Ripley. And maybe this matchup shouldn't have happened because Rhea Ripley did make it pretty further than I think a lot of people probably were expecting, or maybe it's a popularity thing. I don't know how people are voting based off this stuff. I don't know if people are voting biased. I don't know if people are just picking their favorites. I can't really ask you because, I just don't know. I'm not one of the voters. But Becky Lynch did get the votes over Rhea to move into the finals. And then we also had AJ Lee going up against Trish Stratus. And AJ Lee was finally kicked off the bracket when she lost to Trish Stratus, and Trish Stratus then moved to the finals. Now we got that big matchup.
Final round. Fight!
And then in the finals, we got Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus. I'm going to need a big drum roll for this. Can I get a drum roll? The winner, based off what the people have voted of who they think the WWE GOAT is all time. Surprisingly to me, they voted for Trish Stratus over Becky Lynch. They believe Trish Stratus is the women's GOAT still. Now, that's not crazy because Trish was the best of her era. Even though I was always more Team Lita, I do think Trish was just more accomplished, and Trish all around was just more of the centerpiece in that time frame for women's wrestling. She really kind of helped move the needle a lot to pave the way for women like Becky Lynch and others. But man, Becky Lynch losing to Lita, the feud all over again, except it's the other way around. Trish Stratus didn't end up losing, the last match they had this time. Becky Lynch lost and Trish Stratus was the winner. So, I don't know how people are going to feel about this one. Trish Stratus is a legend, but I don't know, man. I think Becky Lynch is is one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time, like Mount Rushmore. And I'm not saying Trish Stratus isn't on there, but I don't know, man. Becky losing to Trish, I don't know. How do y'all feel about that one? Let me know. There were some definitely interesting choices here. Some that I definitely disagree with. AJ Lee over Bayley, I 100% disagree with for sure. Lita over Rhea, I don't even know if I would have voted for that one. Rhea over Bianca, I definitely disagree with that one as well. Trish over Becky, I disagree with as well. I think Becky Lynch is the GOAT. To me, Becky Lynch is the women's GOAT. I think she's the most impactful women's superstar in WWE history. She creates other stars in the process as well, while continuing to rise her stock to the top. And Becky Lynch, to me, just was the face of the WWE, which I don't think people can really truly understand how impactful and how big that is when you look at what women's wrestling used to be. Bra and panty matches, lingerie pillow fights, like paddle on a pole match. Sometimes they did like wet t-shirt contests, volleyball tournaments, kickball tournaments, like wrestling in pools of like gravy or mud and stuff like that. It's just crazy stuff. Women was just like pushed for sex appeal at that time frame. And I feel like for Becky Lynch to say that she was the only woman in history so far to say that she was the face of the biggest wrestling organization in the world, World Wrestling Entertainment, nobody could have predicted that. And to say that she was the first woman to be in the main event of WrestleMania to win it, and people were excited for it, and they cared about it, and they wanted it. The impact is crazy. Becky Lynch also has countless of great matches too. Like, Becky Lynch's catalog, to me, is just very, very high. And I think she's the women's GOAT, especially when you look at all the boxes that you look at to be checked off. Like, not every superstar can say they were the face of the WWE. We're talking about Hulk Hogan, Rock Austin, Cena, Roman. You could even say Cody Rhodes right now. Like, not everybody can get that spot. That was Becky Lynch for a year. Granted, 2019 is one of the worst years in WWE history, but that wasn't Becky Lynch's fault. She lived up to her expectations. She played her part very well, and she was one of the biggest parts of the good side of 2019. And there wasn't too much good, but Becky Lynch as the man gimmick, one of the most popular superstars ever, one of the craziest peaks ever, and she was the biggest star in the company over Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. They even came out with a t-shirt for Seth Rollins that said, "The man's man." He was like pretty much living in Becky Lynch's shadow, which is crazy to say, but the facts be facts. So that's just how I feel about it. That's just my personal opinion. But the voters believe Trish Stratus is the GOAT. Do y'all agree or disagree? Let me know in the comment section below. And to be on the lookout for the next video, you got to subscribe to the YouTube channel. The next bracket, like I said, will be the greatest WWE theme song of all time. If you want to vote and be a part of it, you got to follow my Instagram right here.